So this is my third time trying to film this video, all because of mic problems. I'm even trying to think if I said something wrong, why this isn't working, or if this is just a test to see if I'm going to get through this day. But hey, we're going to get through it. We're going to have this episode and action. Hi. And welcome to Elasah Uncensored, the first ever episode of Elasah Uncensored. I am a person that likes symbolism a lot, and so I really wanted today to reflect the foundation of where everything I'll be talking about is coming from. And I was like, oh my goodness, what is more fitting than, I shouldn't even say it was me, I would say it was God who brought it back to my mind about a dream I had a couple of months ago, I would say a good couple of months ago, talking about, as the title suggests, judgment. To judge or not to judge? That is the question. And I feel like I'm hearing more and more about that these days, about like, you have no right to judge, or yes, we should judge because God has given us the authority to do so, and blah, 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 blah. So it's like, okay, well, what do we do? How do we go about it? And so I think this dream that I had clarifies it. Now, mind you, I'm a person, I like to be very careful about saying whether or not God gave me this vision, or God gave me this dream, or this what. Because God knows I grew up hearing a lot of that, and a lot of them people, nobody but the devil sent them, is what it was. So let's be honest. So I just like to make sure that if what I'm saying, like, I like to distinguish when it's my opinion versus if it's something God gave me. And the more and more I talk to people these days and about this topic, is the more and more I realize, I was like, wow. And the more and more I think about the dream even, I was like, I think God gave me this dream to answer my question, and not just my question, but I believe the same question that a lot of other people have as well. So, without further ado, I will tell you what the dream was, and also give it some pretext as well. With this dream, it starts where I know I'm in heaven, but like not dead, but I'm in heaven, and basically it's like I'm in the area of heaven where business is, where we do business, like we get stuff done. Like us here on earth, like we go up there, we talk to God, we get whatever we need to do, and then we head back down to earth. Like, even though I didn't see that happening necessarily, like the atmosphere was giving that. Like, I knew it without knowing, but I knew. I know it's weird, but these are the dreams. So I'm in like one of the meeting, like a huge like lounge, I guess you can say, area in heaven. And God is there, and this gentleman walks in, and from like what I understand, it's like this is how they meet every once in a while to talk, like a weekly debrief or whatever they're having. So he comes in, God is here on my left side, the person is walking in from this side on the right, and God's just chilling, and I'm like somewhere, I'm in between the two, but from a distance, looking at all of this. Whether or not the person knew I was there, I don't know, but I was just seeing all of this unfold. And so as the person walks in, they're like super upset. Like, they're really, really upset, and not at God or anything, but they just come in and they just go on a rant. Like, you know when you meet your best friend, or even like one of your parents, and you just go off ranting about your day, about what happened. So this gentleman, he's just going off. I mean off. Like, he is upset, he is angry, and he's saying, basically, he's like, God, these people, they're calling themselves Christians, and they're not living the way they're supposed to. They're doing this, they're doing that, XYZ. Like, he was just calling a bunch of stuff that they were doing, and he's like, this is not how children of God are supposed to behave. They're misrepresenting the kingdom of God. They're being a poor example to other people who want to come into the kingdom, and all of that stuff. So that's basically like the gist of what his argument is about, and he's just going on and on and on. Like, and mind you, he wasn't wrong in what he was saying. What he was saying was correct. It was happening, and he was just like really upset about it. But his anger was sincere, And so while he's going off like this, God, like this amazing, sweet parent, he's not angry at the guy, he's not annoyed at him, but he's just there looking at him like showing concern, that he understands how the guy feels, how his son feels, really. He understands how his son feels. He understands the emotions that he's feeling, that he's going through. And, just showing that he's listening to him. And the guy, he's still going, he's going, he's upset. And as this is happening, it's like God makes eye contact while he's still looking and listening to his son. He makes eye contact with one of the angels in the distance behind the gentleman, and signals to the angel, yeah, you can come in. And the angel comes in with like this. He kind of, I guess you could say, wheels in, or just brings in these stacks of. From a distance looks like papers, and then the closer you get, it was file folders like this, these type of file folders. It was a stack of file folders. I would say about like 3 or 4 columns stacked of file folders. And so all of this is happening, and the gentleman is like, the guy is so into what he's saying, like he's not even really noticing any of this happen. He's just talking to God. He's just going off. And so the angel, he brings the stack of files, and he sets them down on this like coffee table, because it's like a little lounge area. Mind you, this area is huge, but there's just like this one set of like maybe 2 chairs and the coffee table. And to tell you how high this stack of files was, like, how low coffee tables are. The stack of file folders went from like the low part of like from the table up to like standing height, your waist. That's how stacked the file folders were. How stacked the files were. And so again, the guy is still going on. He's arguing. Well, not arguing. He's venting. And then God doesn't even stop him. Like when the guy is done, God looks at him, no shade whatsoever, no meanness, nothing. He's like, I understand what you're saying. It's like, I hear what you're saying. I appreciate your sincerity. I hear you. I really understand. And then he goes, like, he just shows empathy towards the guy. Like, God is not, like, he's not just saying those words to make him feel, like, he means it. He's like, I hear what you're saying. I feel what you're saying. I know you're sincere in what you're saying, and I hear that it's bothering you. I understand that. And then he goes, but he's like, I do, however, want to show you something, important here. He's like, if you would look here with me. And the guy, he makes eye contact, finally, with the stack of folders that are on the table. And God is like, these. So the guy looks at them like, obviously kind of wants to know what they are. But I know that he wants to know what they are without him saying this. So again, like up there, it's, as I'm in the dream, it's like I can hear what the words, like I'm hearing their words that are being said, but I'm also hearing the thoughts of the person that are acting as words, and God could hear them too, and he's also able to respond to both the person's words and thoughts via word and thoughts as well, and or thoughts. So it's interesting. So this is how this goes on. And so when he finally makes contact with the file folders, kind of like, wow, cool, what is it? Without actually saying that. And God is like, so these here are assignments that I have for you. And he's like really nice about it. He's like, these are your assignments. He's like, these are specifically for you. And the person kind of feels like a little bit nice and cool, like, oh, wow, yeah, I got some assignments from God. Nice. And so, he doesn't say this again, but, his actions and his thoughts are showing this excitement. And then God kind of just separates one of the stacks, right? Again, super high stack, all of them. And he goes, this stack here He said, these are assignments that you have on backlog. These are backlogged assignments. And the person's like, oh, backlog assignment. Like, yeah. He's like, yeah, these are your backlog assignments, and I really would love for you to get these assignments done. You know, like, again, I made them just for you. these are for you, nobody else, for you. And yeah, I would really love for you to focus on these right now, to get on these assignments. And the person is like, okay. And as much as the person goes from like the excitement that they had earlier for the assignments to now the energy is kind of going down a little bit in the person, and then they go like, okay, like you can hear them saying, okay, great, these are my assignments, yay, these are my backlog assignments, oh my goodness, they're a lot. And then you can now feel like a sensation of overwhelmedness coming over the person, like they're really overwhelmed now at this point. And I know it, God knows it. So again, like the energy goes from yay to like really feeling overwhelmed. And so God's like, yeah, but yeah, I could help you out with these assignments, like no problem. But I really just want you know to like focus on these assignments right now, okay? And the person's like, okay, cool, great, I'll get on these. And then God goes, when we get done with these backlog assignments, then we can get up to date with all the current assignments that you have to get done. So mind you, God is in a good mood more or less this whole time, pretty much. And the person goes from, like I said, the venting high to happiness to and excitement to like, oh, I have a lot of work to do. Like, how am I going to get all these assignments done? But it's like, God's like, don't worry, you know, I got you. Like, we're going to work together on these assignments to get them done. Okay? But I need your focus on them. And basically, like, when God said, like, I need to focus on these assignments, even though he didn't say a lot of words after that or surrounding this, it was very much implied in the moment and understood in the moment that by him saying, I need you to focus on these assignments, I knew, the person he was talking to knew, and I knew that the nature of your assignments, that the nature of the assignments that God had for him, or that he has for us, it cannot work or cannot be carried out if your attention is split. It really has to be, this is my assignment, nothing else. Like, that's what was implied in the moment, and it was very well understood without God even having to say that. Like, you couldn't be doing this, like, you couldn't be like, oh, no, and then, like, it immediately implied that could not happen. Like, you really had to be focused on this. So again, now the person like goes now to feeling really overwhelmed and all of that. But again, without fully saying it, God is like, don't worry, like, I got you. Like, we're going to work on these assignments together. I'm here. And that's why we have these debriefings. I'm going to help you. It's almost like if they went off into having a little discussion or whatever. But again, you know how dreams are kind of weird. You could hear something, you can't hear it. You know something's happening, but you're not fully aware of it. And then it kind of just skips to now where the person is getting ready to leave now. And as their back is turned and they're getting ready to head out, God says, oh, wait, and by the way, the person you were talking about, that you were telling me about and how they were, he said they actually just lost their wife the other day, and they're going through a really hard time. And I know, yeah, that behavior you're seeing, I know they're not acting the way they should fully right now, but they really are going through a hard time. But don't worry, I sent one of your brothers or sisters there to go and talk to him. That's their assignment, so they'll be handling that. So don't worry, they're gonna talk to him. But if you do happen to see him again, or think of him again, do pray for him, okay? Let me know what he needs. If there's something he needs, let me know so I can get it for him. Which is so cool, because that's basically prayer. It's like, God, you know, and yet he's telling him, you know, like, let me know if they need anything, being your brother's keeper, you know, which is so sweet. And mind you, when God is saying this, he's not being like, oh, and by the way, the person that's not the attitude. The attitude is very much kind and again, there was no shade throughout this whole interaction. God was just calm, and so kind throughout the whole situation. And so after God gets done telling the gentleman this, again, now another shift in attitude in the atmosphere where I can tell now he's just feeling really, really badly. Like the guy, he feels sad, kind of ashamed as well. And God knows this. And even though the guy doesn't apologize, it's like the apology was kind of implied in the moment because of how bad the guy kind of felt like, oh, okay, you know? And mind you, I'm not saying like this is every situation, but even if it is, even if it isn't, you know, like people behave the way they do for a reason. And whatever the reason, it seems as though, based on this dream, it's like God is showing that He always operates in compassion towards all of us, right? Not excusing it, and the not excusing it is implied by the fact that He sent someone to go and talk to the person about it. But because the person was assigned to talk to them about what they were doing, it means that however they go about it is more than likely going to be in the exact tone and tenor that it needs to be in to reach that person and help them correct their behavior. You understand? So so that's pretty much where that was, or what that situation was saying in the moment. So yeah, the person, they didn't necessarily apologize, but their attitude was definitely, and their feeling of their heart was very much showing that they were sorry, and God knew it. So it wasn't like, oh, apologize. Like He knew, God knew. And so the person was like, okay, yes, I'll do that. And that was pretty much the end of the dream. Now, it's crazy because after having that dream, I feel like that dream has answered so many questions for me now that I've had about judgment, because I was hearing both sides of the story my whole life, and I agreed with a lot of parts from both sides, but I was like, okay, God, I don't want this to just be my opinion. I remember like really being like, God, I just want to know what I should do. Like, what should my stance be on each and every situation? But rather than God giving me a stance on each and every situation, I think He opened up my eyes to what the heart and source of all of this is supposed to look like in the first place. And it's all truly supposed to be from a place of love, because we come from a world where, well, we're in a world now, where love is, the devil is trying so hard to distort what love is, saying like, oh, this is love, and if you don't love like this, then you're a hater. Who is the devil to tell you what love is? He don't know nothing. He doesn't know anything about love. God is love. So obviously He's going to try and completely distort that. So I believe what God was showing me in that dream was what pure, unadulterated love looked like. It did come with correction, but a very specific kind of correction straight from God, and straight from God with the nature of God. It didn't come from a person's opinion or their own perspective or their own emotions or their own feelings toward it. The correction came from the heart of God Himself through a person that fully submitted themselves to Him. And I think that is, or I believe that is that is the only way in which correction should be carried out. The things that bother you, ask yourself truly, why does it bother you when you see a person behave a certain way? I had to do that for myself. I got to a point where I don't know what, I believe it was my prayers that God decided to answer one day that triggered this, where I found myself just going down a rabbit hole of constantly asking myself, why does this make you upset? Well, they shouldn't be wearing that. Well, why shouldn't they be wearing it? Well, because it's immorally wrong. Why is it immorally wrong? Well, it's immorally wrong because it's exposing themselves and da, da, da. Okay, why is it bad that they're exposing themselves? Well, it's bad that they're exposing themselves because that's a private organ of the body and it shouldn't be out like that. Why shouldn't it be out like that? Well, because it's a form of indecent exposure. Okay, cool. It's indecent exposure. Why is it bothering the way it's bothering you right now? Because they shouldn't be doing it. Who told you? Why do you think they shouldn't be doing it like that? Like, where did you get that from? Well, that's what we were taught. Like, you're supposed to cover yourself up and da da da. Okay, great. Even if the person is supposed to cover themselves up, why is it bothering you? Because it's something that shouldn't be done. Okay, even if it's something that shouldn't be done, why is it bothering you? So, like, I'm going down this whole rabbit hole of questions, and basically coming down to the fact where I realize, like, when I'm asking myself, okay, like, why is it bothering you? It's okay, great, it's bothering you because you think it shouldn't be done. But now that it's done bothering you, how does that affect you as a person? How does that make you better as a person? And how does your anger towards what they're doing make them better as a person? If you change their clothes today, if you get them to change their clothes today, are they better for it? And are you better for it? So I'm asking, like, going down this rabbit hole of questions. Why? And, and trying to get to the root of it. And then you really realize at the end of the day that either one, you're repeating kind of what you've been taught either through society or religion, or through people's opinions, or sometimes what you developed, or sometimes it's those things coupled with what you developed to be as a form of self-righteousness. It sounds gross saying it, but it is a little dash of that. If I'm being completely honest, you kind of do feel a bit better sometimes about yourself when you're talking about what other people are doing, right? So now I gotta check. Now I have to check myself, check my way of thinking, check how, where did these thoughts and thought processes and analysis develop? Why do I have them? And, why am I using them? And so that was my first wake-up call to the topic of judgment. And it was around that time I really started to become a lot more nonchalant about a lot of things, to the point where I think some people even started to get worried that I may have been backsliding, not because I was doing those things, but simply because I was like almost like in this existential mode of, but why? Like that was like I was asking everything, like, why? Okay, you're upset, but why? Why are you upset? Like, basically the same questions that I asked myself, I'm kind of in a way posing to them. Or if I don't ask them why, I just assume an attitude or position of, okay. And people are like, bruh, like, is she okay? Like, are you condoning sin? Like, no, I'm not. It's just that I'm really thinking differently now about how this needs to be handled. And at that time, I didn't have this dream yet. So I really just kind of took a position of, listen, I know it's wrong, but I'm not just going to jump into this situation and say I'm going to handle it if I don't really know what I'm doing here necessarily, or if it's really necessary at all to intervene, or if I should be the one intervening, So I was like that for a while. Mind you, it took a complete load off, like a big load off, a load off that I didn't, honestly, I don't even think in the moment I realized how much of a load off it took, how much of a load it took off of me by assuming that position, where it comes to judgment or making judgment on other people. It was, I would say maybe about a year later or a couple months later where I did have the dream. And that dream really then fully just solidified and put into further perspective what I was feeling before, or what I believe God prompted me into thinking before. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Hey, come on now. So now that is how I approach situations. That is how I approach things that are going on in the world, because this world is full of chaos right now as a result of human behavior and spiritual activity, of course. So let's not add to that chaos by Yeah. Anyways, I'll leave it there. I think it's I think it's good enough to leave it there. So the moral of this story is of this dream, I believe, is this: focus on your assignments. And really, like, it cannot be this and it can't. It really has to be you putting all of your attention here, and in doing so, your life will be the answer key that people need to know what actions they should be correcting. I think it further solidifies why I believe this dream is from God. I believe it goes right in hand with scripture. Let your light so shine, one, okay? Two, let your life be like an open epistle read by all men. So it goes along with the saying we have in our day-to-day: actions speak louder than words. And who's to say that your actions now, your life, and the light shining through your life, isn't the seed that needs to be planted in someone's life? Sometimes we automatically assume that it's our words that are going to be the seed in someone's life, and if we don't say something and correct them, that they're not going to grow or do the right thing. No, sometimes I believe God would use, if he said let your life be like an open epistle read of all men, it means that your life is like, let it be like words written in a book. So sometimes, oh wow, thank you Holy Spirit for that one. I just got that one there. Nice. Your actions can be words. If your actions are to be like if your life is to be like an open epistle read of all men, it means your life is to be like words in a book that could be read. So let your actions be like the words. Let your actions do the talking. Voila. And who's to say that your actions won't be the seed, or isn't the seed that is going to be planted in someone's life, and not so much what you say? Who's to say that your actions isn't going to be the water that is going to water a seed that has already been planted by someone else, or God himself in that person, right? So, because if you were to now take your mouth and do all the talking and you shouldn't be doing this, or sometimes you're not even saying it to them directly. Sometimes how you speak out in the open with other people, and other people hear that could very well affect how the word is received from people, by people. So who's to say that those words don't end up becoming the feet that trample on the seeds, or a fork that goes into the ground and tills it up and ruins the soil that it was growing in? Or who's to say that your words don't become like a flood, drowning out the seeds that have just been planted, right? So focus on, I believe if we all focus on our assignments that God has given us, and get caught up with our backlog assignments, that naturally that in and of itself would be a lot of the correction that a lot of people need. And then if verbal correction is needed, I believe, like in the dream, God will send people that he's assigned specifically for that, to do that for those people, for those individuals. Because with them, they will come with the right attitude in the moment. They'll come with the right tone. They will come with the right tenor, composition, poise that is needed for that specific moment, because they've already been given all the details in their case file, right? Looking at me. Right? They'll have all the details that they need in their case file on how they should approach the situation. Whereas you're just going based off of general knowledge that you received, and not necessarily knowledge specific to that person, and end up doing more harm than good, even though you meant well, right? So, like I said, focus on that, like the dreams, like what I saw in the dream. Focus on your assignment, and if God happens to give you a side quest where he wants you to talk to so and so, well, great. Now it's on your docket. Now you can go and address it. And when you do go to address it, find out from God on your side quest exactly how he would have you address it, because that's just as important. That's pretty much the gist of it. Okay, so yeah, guys, let's not let love get hijacked by a corrupt world. True love comes from love itself, and that's God. God is love. And so I view it a privilege to be able to share that with other people. And because God is love, it means that it is so multifaceted and not limited to what we perceive here on this earth and what our knowledge of what it is in the word alone. Like, it needs to be, we need spiritual knowledge and understanding and the Holy Spirit's guidance to be able to really love properly and to correct properly in love. So let's grab a hold of that. I believe that one of the ways in which we'll grab hold of it is by following what is given to us or assigned to us in these file folders from God. So yeah, focus on getting your backlog assignments done. Your assignments cannot afford to have split attention. They need full attention. Okay? C'est ça. Well, that's it for this first episode of Elasah Uncensored here on the podcast. And thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I would love so much to hear your feedback. Let me know what your thoughts are on this in the comment section, whatever platform you're watching on. If it allows for comments, please leave a comment, leave a review. Some of the platforms allowed for reviews, like I believe Apple Podcasts lets you give reviews. Please leave me a review. Let me know what you think, and head on over to YouTube or Instagram to drop in the comment section what you thought of today's episode. So please follow me, like the videos, heart the videos, follow the channel, like the channel. I'll also leave a PayPal link available wherever a link can be posted. I will put the link where you can support this channel of Elasah Uncensored financially. I would appreciate that so much. And I can't wait to see you guys and talk to you guys about other different topics here on Elasah Uncensored, where we discuss politics, trends, and taboos, and find out what our stance should be based on the truth, right? Awesome. So can't wait to see you guys again. Thank you for tuning in, and see you in the next episode. Bye.